Alright guys, so I'm excited because this is my first vlog. You know, I've been thinking a lot about doing a vlog to kind of give a behind the scenes into what I do, what it's like for me as a musician educator, my day-to-day, the way that I go about practicing, the way that I go about composing, the way that I do life as a musician. And you know, there's a lot of questions I've been asked, and I hope over the time that I do this that I can answer some of those questions for you guys. And you know, just starting today, I'll go over a topic. You know, I can hear that it sounds like a storm coming in the background. Of course, you can hear the cicadas in the distance. And you know, tomorrow, just to give you some insight, tomorrow I have a gig that's outside, and here in Cincinnati, Ohio. It's supposed to be a feel-like temperature in the hundreds tomorrow, a high of 94, but the humidity is going to be pretty high. And what I've done is, because I have the luxury in the neighborhood that I'm in to practice outside, I'm on my deck here in my neighborhood, and I'm able to practice outside. So that allows me to kind of get a feel for what to expect tomorrow. Of course, you know, the sound's going to project a little bit different. And you know, I'm sure many of you have had this same situation when you're inside and you're playing a gig, and then you have that sound, everything's great, you know, and then you go outside and everything just seems to just go everywhere. You don't really have that control over your sound. So that's something that I deal with a lot, and it affects my playing big time. Mentally, it stresses me out when I'm playing, you know, and that's, you know, I usually don't get, you know, stressed out, but that's something that messes with me a good bit, and I have to adjust for that. Now, you know, for this vlog today, what I want to talk about is something that I mentioned in a blog post a few weeks ago, and the title of the blog was "My Practice Routine Doesn't Matter." You know, I get questions about what I practice, and you know, I can say that one thing that stays, you know, pretty consecutive is some sort of a technique-based approach. And you know, that's something that I am strong to hang on to, because I feel like the left-hand right-hand connection, like the ability to execute ideas on the instrument is key. You know, there's ideas that I hear in my head based on all my influences, the things that I've heard, the way that I want to communicate musical ideas, that my technique has to be on par, or else I can't execute that. And if I can't do that, then it feels like my voice is lacking. Now, I'm not that old. I'm in my 30s, but I've noticed over time that my technique is, I just feel a resistance, and I don't know what's necessarily causing that. There has been changes over the last few years of purchasing a home and having a wonderful 2-year-old son, and just dealing with the day-to-day aspects, that as well as a busy teaching schedule, performing schedule. And you know, I'm sure that has an effect on what I do, but things have just felt a little bit, you know, different for me as time is going on. Now, as far as just practice in general, I don't have a set practice routine, and I know that there are those who do, and I don't think it's because I have a lack of discipline. When if there's something particular that I'm trying to really dive into and really get a hold on, I will stay focused on that. I have the discipline to do that. But my practice routine, even when I was in college doing this, I never really had a set practice routine. And at that time, maybe that was the perfect time to have it. But as things go on, especially as life continues on, you have to adjust for things. In the past, I had many hours during the day. I still have time to practice, and all of you have time to practice, even with a busy schedule. You can at least do 10 minutes a day. If you can't, then take a look at the priorities that you have. Is music really the top thing? Is maybe something else is more of a priority, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I do have time to practice. But it has changed. I don't necessarily have blocks of time to practice. So the time that I do get, whether it's 10 minutes here, half an hour, maybe even sometimes, especially at night once my son is in bed, I'm done teaching, wife goes to bed, I have some hours that I stay up in through the night and I can do some practicing. But my practice routine is not a set particular thing. I will say that the things that I like to do, as you saw at the beginning of this video, I like to pick up my guitar and usually allow some ideas to kind of flow. I don't want to think about key changes. I don't want to think about a particular melody other than the one that's coming to me, that just feels right at that moment, things that I'm practicing that influence what I might play, and that type of picking up the guitar and just playing in the beginning, that has been a big part of the basis for my original compositions. That's how many of them have been written. Some of them have been written within 10 minutes based on just being able to do that. But usually in my practice I go over technique-based things. I can get more detailed. I can make a video about that where it's more detailed. I have made videos, of course you guys know my Technique Tuesday videos. I can be more specific, but I have some technique-based things that I work on. Really trying to voice some things around, in songs, working out ideas. The two big things that stand out to me right now has been tone, which is always a huge factor, no matter, and I've heard several compliments about my tone over the years. I do like my tone when I listen back, but at that moment I'm not so happy because I hear it different than the listener out there hears it. So I'm constantly struggling with that and thinking I gotta fix something. And I will say that as some of you have asked, I do use Hendrickson amps. I use a 112, and I think it's a great amp, and it's nothing to do with that. It's just a mental game. It's this thing that keeps going off, that it's not good enough. It's not good enough sound. It's not right. And so a big thing is tone. Just getting a nice, great tone. Even when I play faster or slower, I want that tone to be focused. I want it to be a great rounded sound. The other thing that I have been getting back into, I listen to a lot of modern players, so any of you that check out my music, you know that it's not standard type jazz. I do play standards. I like to think that I don't approach them in the way that old school players would, and that's no disrespect. It's just my ears, because of all the players I listen to, has modified to adjust more for that. That's where I find more of my voice. But I've gotten back into listening to older school players, and one player that I listened to lately is Dexter Gordon. I'm a huge fan of tenor sax. Huge fan. I really dig the tone and just the phrasing, the way things are going. And that's, as you can hear, being a dad, my son is always around, so he's knocking on the door. And that's one of the things, as a dad, that's part of it. There is no just, I'm here and nothing else is going on. So this is capturing some of those things, which many of you other parents out there deal with and you know about. So, but my practice, as far as I've been digging back into older recordings of things, because I like hearing the sax and just picking up the language of that. I've never been huge into transcription outside of college, but I'm going back and hearing phrases and mimicking what I'm hearing and trying to get the rhythm, the articulation. I want to be able to get that more into my playing. And there's guys the other two that I've been listening to a lot lately is Joel Fromm and Joe Locke, vibraphonist. I really dig what Joe Locke does. But those are the guys that I'm currently listening to right now. So it's a matter of doing some technique-based things, working out some ideas for tunes, which I have so many tunes that have not been written. And, it's a balancing act where I'm trying to piece it all together. And as life is going on, there's certain priorities that are taking charge, and I feel like there's a change happening. So one of the big things that I need to focus on, that I know, is to complete all of those unfinished original compositions, and there are a lot of them. And so working on technique, the tone, coming up with ideas for new songs, working out some new songs, more challenging songs, and just trying to acquire more of that language from the past. That has been the focus of my practice lately. So hopefully that helps for some of you guys who ask about my practice, what's going on, what I do in my practice. And then the videos that you see, the Technique Tuesday videos, those are ideas that I'm working on too. But my practice has never been, this is what I'm doing every single day for prolonged periods of time. Although I do have isolated things that are like that, it's really based on what I need to work out, because there's gigs that are always coming up. And I restrict myself to do 1 to 3 gigs every weekend. I don't play during the week because it conflicts with my teaching schedule for the most part. I can adapt, but most of the time I don't take gigs in that during the week. And also, there are weekends I want to take time away because I do have a family. And I really enjoy playing with all the musicians that I've played with, up to this point, ones that I haven't played with yet that I will play with in the future. I really enjoy playing the music, but I also need time to spend with my family because they're really important to me. So, alright guys, this is it for vlog number 1, and I hope you guys will continue to follow along with this. Make sure to ask any questions that you might have or leave a comment, and please don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you for Technique Tuesday. See you later.